it's always exciting to be here sharing family lessons with you. How are you doing though? I wish I could get responses. How are you doing? How are you doing? How are you feeling this morning? I don't know, but somehow I'm in very high spirits and I am very excited. And I just hope that, it's rubbing off on you somehow. But this morning, I think about 2 weeks ago, up until yesterday, a very good friend of mine's been going through very tough times, very difficult times. And every time I have conversations with him, it kind of moves from one issue to the other, one issue to the other. And I know it's been weighing on him and his family. If you are in that kind of situation and it's looking as though it's not like nothing is working, but you are in very difficult times, I just need you to know that God hasn't abandoned you. We don't understand the ways of God. Sometimes it's very difficult to even know, but why is God allowing all of these? Sometimes it's so difficult. And as human as we are, yes, we're tempted to ask questions. Sometimes we are even tempted to tell God that, look, He's powerless, because you're human. But then I'd like you to know that He hasn't abandoned you. He hasn't. It's difficult, but God has not abandoned you. The day God abandons us, that will be the end of our lives, We'll still run to Him anyway. We'll still go back to Him and tell Him to be merciful. We'll still go back to Him and tell Him that He has to help us and lighten the burden on us. So if you're going through any tough time this morning, just telling you that God has not abandoned you. It's difficult. Keep faith. Whatever it is that you can do to feel a bit strong, especially so for the people who are even dependent on you, it's important that you do. God has not abandoned you. Maybe you should say these words to yourself and affirm it and tell yourself that, God, I know you have not abandoned me. Come through for me. And if He can, He should come through sooner than, He might be wanting to come through for you. But remember that He has not abandoned you. So don't feel too helpless. On that note, let me welcome us one more time to Home Affairs. We're live on Joy99.7 FM. That's the radio for discerning listeners. If you listen to Joy, you are very discerning. And we are also on Joy Prime, where we give you the ultimate television experience. So you are home, and on Home Affairs, what we do is our mandate is to make homes out of houses. And so we have conversations, we have discussions that seeks to edify your home, that seems to bring a bit more peace to your home, that seeks to bring a bit more understanding to the issues that you may be dealing with in your home. And ultimately, we are looking to making your homes, your relationships, your relationship with your children, your partners, your loved ones, and even people at work beautiful. That is what we are about. I think about 2 weeks ago, we started a conversation and we're asking that, how is it that marriages, relationships that start off beautifully, how is it that they give way to resentment, that there are times that you just don't even want to see the person you are with at all? We established that there are some people who even just wish their partners dead so that they can be free. How does it get there? And we talked about a lot of things. This morning, we're going to continue that conversation, and we are looking at, the love, we have allowed it, right? We refuse to have the communications. We refuse to work at it. We refuse to forgive. We ended up trying to see ourselves in the other person. We ended up expecting too much of the other person. And because they're human as we are, it's ended up such that we have come to the point where we are so angry, we are upset, and we're so resentful of our partners. But here's what it is. You're still in that marriage. You're still in that relationship. It is eating you up. It is killing you. You're not feeling good about it. And most importantly, you haven't made up your mind that you're going anywhere. So how do we attend to these situations and make them better? I'll be asking my guests, is it possible, is it really possible that such situations can be turned around 360 such that you can begin to enjoy the marriage and the relationship again? If they have practical experiences, they will share with us. And then to also find out. Especially so in a relationship where one person comes across like a narcissist. Things have happened. You have talked about it. You probably have moved on from there, but they keep bringing it up, bringing it up, bringing it up. And because of that, you're unable to move forward in the relationship. How do you deal with these people also? Because for as long as your partner keeps thrashing you, making you feel like what you did years ago, or something you said, or something that went wrong years ago, that they themselves have said, I have forgiven you, let's move on. They keep bringing it up. It gets to a point where you feel like, you know what, doesn't even look like I have anything to offer in this relationship. Yet, you're not leaving. Is it possible? How do we make these things work so that we can have our peace? We established also that when we have challenges in our relationships, it doesn't only affect the relationship. Your children are affected, your friends are affected, your extended family is affected, your work is affected, and it affects you as an individual. Someone said, when you hate somebody, it's like drinking poison and expecting another person to die. How does that work? And so we will look at how to deal with all of these. And that's what we are about. Once again, you are welcome to Home Affairs on Joy99.7 FM and also on Joy Prime. My name is Adam Naitete. My guest, Ariel, the wellness coach. Good morning.
Good morning, Adam.
You're looking fabulous as
Yourself
always.
too.
I like your white shoe. I'll go and look for one to buy. Today everybody's wearing a white shoe. Aja, are you wearing a white shoe too? PG, good morning. You're welcome. PG is wearing white trainers as well. Oh, wow, whole rough. I love this squad. Aja, how are you? Can you unmute?
Hi, Adam.
I am saying
I'm not wearing a white shoe.
Are you wearing a white shoe?
No, Adam.
What's the color of your shoe, though?
Well, it's gray.
Okay, mine is nude. You and I were odd. But I was just telling PG and Ariel that you have not attained Zoom status yet. You haven't worked enough to attain Zoom status.
You haven't woken up at 4 a.m. enough.
No, you have not woken up at 4 a.m. enough to attain Zoom status. So we will not allow you to be on Zoom.
I know, forgive me.
But you're looking fabulous.
Good to be here, though.
Great. So we get into the conversation straight, finding out when the marriage, the relationship has reached that resentful stage. And, sometimes it's very funny. Your partner is working here, you are working in the same house. They enter the kitchen, you are coming out, and it's like, but meanwhile, you're married. And you know what's interesting? I mean, sometimes some of these things we experience them. Could have fights. Okay, I wouldn't say resentment, but could have serious fights with my husband, and then he's entering the kitchen, you are coming out. He's entering, you are coming out. You don't want your paths to cross. And then the moment you step out, people see you and they call you, "Oh, hi, Mrs. Light." You are all smiles and responding. I'm like, are you serious right now? You want to find out, how do you deal with this? Because you still want that peace. The one-off fights that we sit down to talk about and make up is fine. But when it's gotten to that point where 3 months, 4, 6, 1 year, 2 years, you're so detached, but you're there. That's the key thing for me. You're in there. You're not considering divorce. You're not considering separation. You have children in that home and you are there, living with resentment and living in the toxicity. Yeah. Is there a way that such a situation can be turned around ever, somehow, for us to start enjoying the relationship again? Ariel, you might want to go.
Okay, great. Good morning, lovely people. It's good to be here. But PG is not my friend today, you know? You know why?
Yes, I
know. PG is not my friend. So, interesting question to turn it around. Can it work? Can it be? And I start with, it's a choice. An individual must make the choice that I want this to work. Because if you get to that stage where these detachments had come up, you are all disconnected, you don't talk, you don't communicate, you don't have any connection, happy moments, and you still decide to stay in there, then you should know that you are putting your well-being at risk. It's affecting everything about your life. So to come to terms with it is to say that I'm going to make a choice that I'm going to work at this. And it has to be one person making the choice. maybe the other partner has not realized that they want to do something about it. So if you find yourself that this is affecting me so much and I don't like where I am, I don't like the space I find myself, and so I don't want to leave, I don't want to do this, then you have to make a choice. And the choice will be that I want to work at this to make it better for me. What can you do? First is to try to find out what your responsibilities are, what you did to bring your relationship to that state. Because there's nothing that you are not part of. You can't say you didn't do anything at all to have brought the relationship to that place. So taking responsibility for your actions will be the first place to start. If you make the decision that you are going to work at it, you have to take responsibilities for your action. Your partner would not have done anything without you taking a step or doing something. Sometimes we forget that maybe I pushed his cap, that's why he snapped. So next time I'll be careful not to push his cap. So take responsibility for your past, the things that you do that triggers all the discomfort in your home. And once you take responsibility for that, you can set boundaries so that you don't push the person's limit. And this is after you've made the decision, I want to work at it. Until you make the decision you want to work at it, you won't take responsibility for your actions. You won't take responsibility to build healthy boundaries. You won't take responsibility to start the process of forgiveness. And that is the big side. This is the time your values have to come to play. Because it's no more something that your partner is willing to even talk about. So it's your values you are going to use here. Do you want peace? Be the one who is sharing the peace. Do you want to be forgiven? Be the one who is sharing the forgiveness. And let your partner know you are giving him this space. But if you don't give this space to your partner, he's always going to feel there's still something going on. So your values are going to play now. And one thing I realize with a lot of people I've had sessions with, we always take responsibility for people's action. But you may not be the reason why somebody has a particular temperament, somebody has a particular personality, somebody is toxic. That is not you. So come to that place and say that Kwame, Kwesi, Ya, Ajua may be the way they are because of where they've come from, because of their background, their upbringing, their own life experiences, their fears, their trauma, their wounds. So can I be more compassionate with them? And these are all values. At this stage, the only thing you can use are the fruits of the Spirit, your values, understanding, forgiveness, compassion, love, kindness. This is the place you can give your partner for him to feel safe. And then communication can even start again. So the decision to work at it has to come up first and take responsibility for your actions that brought you to where you are, and then use your values to build a foundation, to build a space, a safe space, so that your partner can know that, hey, Ajua Kwesi is giving me a different ambience here. Ya is giving me a different feel here. I'm feeling a bit more safe to open up to her so we can talk about what is going on. But if there's no safe space created by one partner, it will be difficult for the turning it around to start. So this is how I think you can start turning it around. And while you do that, creating a very, radical self-care practices for yourself so that your mental well-being is sound, and then you can be able to give that space to your partner to start working around the relationship.
Great. Honestly, let me look at time. I wish we had, all the time in the world.
Right?
Because I have 20 follow-up questions for you alone. But my first will be, I ask that question and ask PG to make his contribution.
Okay.
Will be, okay. At the point where you're feeling angry inside, you have so much anger deposited inside of you, and this has been there over a period.
Yeah.
So, if it is oil, then it has solidified, and it will take a lot of hard work for that thing to melt, before you are able to even wash the dish.
Yeah.
You get what I'm trying to say? So how do you just get up and start telling yourself that, okay, I take responsibility. I mean, are you even in the right frame of mind? I take responsibility for all of these. I am now beginning to look at what I did wrong and what I didn't do wrong. I am now thinking about my partner. Probably everything we're going through could be as a result of their background, their upbringing, and all of those.
Yeah.
And you begin to start making, I am too angry to want to make an excuse for anybody because this didn't start in a day. And then also, the other question will be, and PG likes to, use that word a lot. The other thing will be, let's say that you have even gone past what I am saying and you're willing to try and your partner is stonewalling and, why did you just wake up one day and decide that you want to start talking and start making peace? Please, let's just keep things the way they are. And if you're not comfortable, you can leave. And that is their position. And you hit a roadblock again. And you become angry all over again. How do we go there? But let me take PG. Think about it. Ajo, I'll come to you. But let me take PG's thought from the beginning. Is it possible to turn things around? And if it's possible to turn things around, you want to go into these things. How do you wake up one day and come to that realization? What would have happened?
What would have happened?
Good morning once again to our listeners.
Yeah.
Adam, it is not a very simple thing. So yes, maybe one day you just wake up and you have an epiphany. Maybe it's a tape you listened to. Maybe it's an article you read. Maybe it's something you saw somewhere that triggered a decision. Maybe it's even an experience your child probably experienced at school or had at school and then came back and, in their talking, you realize that maybe it's going to be in the interest of everybody to, want to give this marriage a second chance.
So let me just ask. Don't forget what you're saying. I want us to establish something. So, for as long as are we trying to say that for as long as you haven't made up your mind that you're leaving, and you are there, there could be that day where you will have that epiphany.
Absolutely. I mean, Adam, it's two things. If you are in a space and you see exit, okay, and then there is a problem, naturally you wouldn't attempt to solve the problem in there.
Okay.
You will be distracted because at every point in time you have two options. Do I solve this problem or do I go through the exit? But where there's no exit, Adam, what will you do? Would you just... there are few people who will paralyze in the face of the problem. But the human nature is that naturally a fight or flight instinct will kick in. And without an exit, your natural inclination will be to fight. So that is where you may be forced to stay in and then do something.
Great. So we established that.
Yes.
That for as long as right from the beginning you didn't tell yourself that I am leaving and you stay in there, it means that subconsciously you would there's some array of hope.
Exactly.
In as much as you're angry, for as long as you remain there, you are wishing. You don't want to express it, but you're wishing deep inside you that
it will change.
Adam,
things should work.
Adam,
okay.
So
you're being in there
exactly.
is what could bring you to that point.
It is tacitly a fact
now
that
we can move on.
Exactly that some way somehow people always say this, and I know it is true because sometimes it even actually happens to me. When people find themselves in a place where they've given up, they normally find themselves at peace a lot more. They don't complain a lot more because you know what? I don't really care again. But when people think there is an iota of hope, all the complaints, all the nagging, all the anger and everything, it is because they are crying for help. They are crying for solution. They are crying for some form of a turnaround. No matter how that turnaround is covered with pile and debris of anger, hatred, resentment and everything, so long as they are then constantly crying out, screaming and all that, then it means there is something they want to do. So for staying in that marriage, it means some way, somehow, there is something you want to do. And if you don't see an exit, what it means is that you see yourself as somebody who potentially can make this thing work. Adam, it gets to a point in the marriage where sometimes we need to handle it like the way we handle some forms of diseases. It is not every disease that you go to the counter and then buy paracetamol and then cure it. Sometimes you need a proper medical attention. But let's say in the interim, while you are preparing to go see a professional to help you, because sometimes in your attempt to fix it yourself, you dig a lot more hole, or you dig, you extend the depth of the hole that
Yeah.
you're already in, and you're going to drown yourself or you're going to kill yourself. So sometimes you seek help, but in the interim, while you prepare to seek help, if you get to that place, I think Ariel started by sharing, a few salient points, talking about the fact that you need to be responsible for the part that you played in the issue. It takes two to tango, and then nothing happens in isolation. Even if it is the person who has their own temper, and then for things that shouldn't trigger an abuse, they ended up abusing you, or you found out your partner has gone outside of the marriage, have an affair, and you sit back and you think there is nothing you did wrong and all that. In there is something, maybe just not as it may appear to you as an offense, but to your partner, it may. So you see, sometimes we shouldn't always use our perception or our perspective on issues to say whether we are at fault or not. Sometimes you may want to hear from the other person. What do you think I did wrong? So yes, look at the side that you played in all of this. But even when you can't, talk to your partner, go back again. And when it comes to this level, Adam, there is no force. There is no timelines. Just give them time, because already you are upset, they are upset. Don't go and force them. Don't go and compel them. Don't wake them up at 4 a.m. and say, hey, let's talk about this. I think there's a problem. We need to solve it. No. Begin by breaking the ice. Begin by being a lot more nicer. Begin by making bits and pieces of compromise. Maybe they may have complained about probably the way you dress, the way you talk to them, your time when it comes to how you balance your family time with your work or with something else. It could be anything. Begin to make these little concessions till you realize that you've caught their attention. Till you realize, because if you are with someone and they have a problem with you, you will know they have a problem with you. And it will, in a way, be reflected in the way they relate with you. And that could have also been triggered by something you would have done or hadn't done. If you begin to make these little concessions, little behavioral changes, little allowances for certain things, you sort of, reduce the tension in the house. You sort of make everybody feel a tad comfortable around you. Then you may want to introduce the actual conversation you want to have. But in the process, Adam, one thing that I will tell our listeners, and I say this with all seriousness, when you're talking to someone, listen to understand them. Don't listen to reply them. People go to Equity or you go to wherever, you sit with your partner, and in their mind they have what they are coming to say.
Exactly.
In their mind they are already prejudiced.
Yeah.
In their mind they are just waiting for their partners to keep talking, and then they will be picking words on them.
Makes life difficult.
Why are you telling me this? We are trying to solve it. How can you even use the person is angry already, permits them to blow up. If that is, you want the solution, you are the one making the approach. If they are blowing up, allow them, take it all in. It is part of the healing process. As my former MD would say, we are coming to and you understand? Understand it. Come to that place of understanding that, listen, this may not go my way. I may not influence their choice of language. I may not influence the way they express their emotion. But if I really want this thing to get somewhere, let me allow them to vent. And in the process, don't be listening to the individual words they are using. Don't get on that emotional blackmail by crying, for women mostly, or by getting upset. I'm the husband, regardless of what I've done. Don't talk to me like that. No, don't do that. Just allow the person and try and understand the sum total of what they are saying. That's where it starts from. Now, you may probably take it all in and choose not to respond to them there and there, because they've shared what they have to share. Go sleep over it. Think about it. Pick a pen and paper and put it together. What are some of the things that you personally can change about yourself? What are some of the things that you cannot change and there is nothing you can do about it? And what are some of the things that you can cope with in the event that you can't change about them or anything? You understand? Adam, then from there, you can come back to the table again and say that, well, the last time we talked, you said X, Y, Z and everything. I have thought about it. And these are the things that I think, immediately as a person, I'm going to work on them. Give me time to handle these. These ones, I may need help. And I think that it will probably be good if we sort this help together. then the one that you have promised yourself, you're going to make the changes because it is well within your power. Adam, begin to make those changes. And don't make excuses. Sometimes the problem is we know what the person is angry about. But some way, somehow, once the person smiles with us a little bit because they kind of feel like things are getting better, then quickly we go back again. And sometimes in trying to solve a particular problem, we also compound it. Let me give you a typical example. I always use this as an example. I don't know why. Maybe nobody should think I hate, churches and all that. But your spouse is complaining about you not spending a lot of time at home. You go to work, you close, you have church programs or other things, social engagement and other things. Your partner complains a lot of time about you not spending time in the house. And then what do you do by way of remedy? You go to talk to a pastor who tells you that for the next 2 weeks, come to the church, let us pray together, and let us fast together. During that period, you are not having sex with your same partner that is complaining that you are not making the time for them. During that time, you are fasting, so you are not cooking for them. And during that time, you go to the church to go and pray, so you are not home early. How is this solving the very problem that you have been told it's the problem? You are still taking the time out in your bid to solve a problem. And like, how does that work? I mean, people are in China, they are worshiping God and they don't have to go to church. People are in India, they are worshiping God and they don't have to go to church. So really, you can get everything resolved at home. If your spouse is complaining you're not making the time, cut your weekend engagement. If you go to church, talk to your pastor and say that, listen, there's fire in my house. I have to get out of this fellowship. I have to do this. Step back a little. Give me like 2 months. Let me go on a break. Give me like a month. Let me go on a break. Let me solve my home problem. Be available so that if that is just an excuse your partner is giving, you would have given him a reason to solve it. Now, if you stay in the house for 2 months, 3 months, you are not going anywhere, constantly in his face, and they are still having a problem, they know that wasn't the problem. But most often than not, in our bid to resolve a conflict, we aggravate the problem.
People can stay in that house resentfully.
Adam, so
you say I'm not making time. I am here.
Aha. So again, that is you pretending to be changing. So you are not serious. But Adam, I know there is a lot of things to be talking about, but let me say that it's a lot of commitment. If you really want this marriage to work, Adam, it's a lot of commitment, a lot of painful sacrifices. I mean, sometimes you may have to let go of some friends if they've been pointed at for being a cause of your problem. You have to have some form of lifestyle change, so long as it is within an appreciable level where you feel that you can make these changes and still not feel worse off, even in the current situation that you find yourself in. Sometimes, Adam, you may probably have to relocate. Adam, there are so many things you have to do, but if that marriage matters to you, if there are no exit sign in that marriage, and for you, for better, for worse means for better, for worse, you are staying in that marriage till death do you part, then, Adam, you should be willing to make painful sacrifices. And it doesn't come like a stroll in the park or a walk in the park, or it's like something that you're just sleeping your way out. No, you need to get up, you need to make drastic changes. And if you need help, Adam, you need to talk to somebody.
Okay, great. PG, I like the note on which you ended, and it will push us into my next question that I have already asked. But let me take Adjo's thoughts on where we are, and then we'll go into it, because I like the bit about, because I am the one who has had the epiphany and I now want things to work. Doesn't make me a pretender. I have also been resentful. We have been resentful of each other, but one person will have to take the step. Yeah. And so, yes, I woke up one day, and because I was in there, someday it dawned on me, and I'm like, I'm just hurting myself by staying in here and not trying to see if this thing can work again. And so I take the step, and then I am trying. I have decided to make all the painful sacrifices, not complain, go through, the healing processes PG has talked about. I am listening. We've talked. They've blown up in my face. They've said what they have to. I've gone to sleep. I've come back to tell you that, look, we will make the changes. These ones I am willing to work at. These ones, it's not like I am not willing to work at them, but you will have to give me time, or we have to do them together. There are some that, if you like, we will seek professional help together. I've said all of these, and I'm trying. 2, 3, 4, 5 months down the lane, the person is stonewalling. They're not even giving you the vibes. And what do you do from then? But before then, Adja, can you hear me?
Yes, I can, Adam.
I know you've been listening and smiling
Can you hear
and
me?
shaking your head
Yes.
and all that. Please, all the things that are going on in your head, share with us.
Right. I've learned so much from PG and Ariel. But
Can
your
somebody
question
help
is,
us with the volume in the studio, please? Thanks. Aja, please go.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yes. So is there a way out? Yes. Because I say that where there's a will, there's a way, right? But whoever is going to take the initiative should not expect that there will be victory the moment you start talking.
Yep.
Because already emotions are bruised. Already people have their own mindset, and maybe the other party is not even ready to compromise. So yes, you start talking, but if you start talking with the hope that he will listen to you and he will agree with everything you're saying, you'll be very disappointed. So it's a very gradual step that you have to take. Now, when you start talking and hopefully he or she, your partner agrees, then I think both of you have a bit of hope, because that's the first step to reconciliation. Now, both of you would have to agree that we have a problem. The personalities involved are not the problem, but there's actually a main problem. Because you see, what gives hope is the fact that you build the marriage, you build the relationship on love, right? If it was actually sincere, then that love is that substance that becomes like the foundation, so that if the building shakes, at least the foundation will support it to a point. So if both of you agree that, yes, we have a problem, and we want to seek help for the problem, but we are not addressing the personalities involved, then it's the first step, and I believe that gradually you'll be able to make some headway out of that.
Okay, great. Thank you, Ajwa. And you have also landed us beautifully into that conversation. Yes, I'm giving you time to process it. I have come to understand that my first approach is not the solution. It's just a step I have made, hoping that we go through the process. Because like I said, if it's fat, how it got solidified, it took time. And so for us to go back and reverse it, it will take time. Granted that, because I am willing to make the change, even that one person, if it's the husband or the wife, they have taken the step, they're speaking to, counselors who are guiding them through the process, because you probably don't want a counselor to come in just yet, but you're being guided to handle the situation at home. And it doesn't seem to be going well. Could be that this man mentally, emotionally has checked out, or the woman has checked out. And a lot of reasons. I think the other time we established a lot of reasons why people continue to stay. Now, marriage for a lot of people has become contract. It's no longer the covenant that we want it to be. So there are too many things at stake. Reasons why I can't consider a divorce. So we stay in there. You live your life, I live my life, and we're here. And the other person is just not responding. But now you can get to that point. You're counselors, you can get to that point where you've overcome the resentment. This person who is taking the step, where your heart truly wants it again. So you want to put in all the fight. You want to put in all the sacrifices. You want to put in all the work. And the other person just keeps giving you negative vibes for so long. How do you deal with that when you're at that place? Let me start with Ajo on that. Ajo, do we go around and come back?
No, I'm fine. I can start.
Okay, please.
Because Area will say everything, so let me say it now.
Am I that bad?
Go ahead.
Go ahead. Good. You're good. Adam, you see, let me just bring this in before I address that. I was speaking to your friend, and he said, okay, sometimes when people have problems and they go to church with the problem and they're going to seek help from the pastor, he thinks that they are wasting their time, and I think he agrees with PG that sometimes we over-spiritualize the problems that we have. Mm-hmm. Now, he says, if your husband has a problem with you and you identify the problem, how about deciding that, okay, I'm going to try and change for a month. Now, try and change for a month and see if your husband will not love you again. I was like, okay, I have a counselor in my house here. So it means that the solutions are at our doorstep, So if you decide that you're going to seek the solution elsewhere and you go and you complicate your issues, then you're better off not even starting in the first place, Now, coming back to your question,
Internet.
Ajwa, you have to finish what you're saying, otherwise we'll say,
She's gone off.
Ajwa is gone off. Okay, let me come to you, PG.
Well, I think that Please help me again. I think I lost my.
Walling.
When the person is stonewalling, you're doing all that you have to do, and then
Yes. So Adam, I think that the first thing is you need to understand that resentment is not something that you can compare to a one-off pain.
Anger,
Yes, or like anger. Resentment is a sediment. It takes time and it builds. People don't get to a place where they feel or that may appear to them that their differences with you is irreconcilable. No, it takes time. They just don't get there overnight. So you also need to understand that the process of reconciliation will equally take time. Don't take 5 years to hurt someone or 5 years for you and the person to have an entrenched position in a trenched warfare, looking at each other with your guns trained at each other, and think that in 2 weeks, because you just woke up and you had an epiphany, boom, everything falls in place. Unless you know you are the problem and your partner has been crying for the solution for all that while, that all you have to do is to say, I've changed, and boom, we are having a party. But if you are the problem or your partner is the problem, both of you are having an entrenched position, both of you are angry, and then you need a lot of patience. I remember a client of mine, because of confidentiality, I can't say much, but ultimately I told them, because their problem had gone on for close to 20 years.
Oh, Jesus.
Yes. And so I told her, listen, you make your changes just to be there and be available. One day he will notice you. As you keep making these changes, gradually people will start talking about you to him. I see your wife has lost a lot of weight. I see your wife is looking a lot more funkier. I see your wife is a lot more bubblier. I see your wife, when the two of you are together, your body language is changing gradually. Even if he refuses to see, other people will see. Other people will mention it to him. And gradually he will notice. Because don't forget that all these resentments were built over little piece of issues here
Sometimes
and there.
little things.
Good. So once he comes and he's no longer finding them or she's no longer finding them, then gradually, no matter how angry he is, think about it like, things as simple as who put the toilet seat on when they use the washroom, for instance. So after this has become a fight so much and bits and pieces, a guy just, as they dirty themselves as they go, they don't pick up after themselves, and a whole lot of things. You drink, you go out, you don't come home early, like all of that. So it's built a whole thing about resentment and everything. Like your spouse is very angry. You have decided you want to make the change. How about starting with the little things? Now you come home a bit early. You are not coming home a bit early. Say, honey, I came home early. Am I forgiven? No. Just keep coming home early.
So plastered.
Just keep taking the toilet, putting back the toilet seat whenever you finish using it. Keep cleaning it up. Like the little things that they've talked about, and the two of you have fought on over a period of time. Begin to do them. And just give them the time, because you've already done the talking. You've already made your intentions of reconciliation and a better experience known to them. So now what is there to do? You just basically live it for them, because sometimes we are skeptical. That's how human beings are. We are naturally skeptical. There are a lot of legislation that were recently introduced that we are all fighting against, but who knows what will happen in the future.
I know, right?
You get what I mean? So we can be all very skeptical about things. Sometimes when the outlook or the appearance don't look like the way we want it to be. So what people do is that, okay, well, maybe they won't even say, let me give you the benefit of the doubt. They are just being skeptical, plain. But then it is your responsibility not to buy into their skepticism. Your responsibility is to ensure that you prove them wrong by being consistent with the promises that you have made with no gun to your head. You understand? You have made not under duress, but you have made of your own free will. Keep doing it for a while. I understand, Adam, it gets to a point you are like, listen, it looks like this thing is not going to work. In this instance with this, my clients, the husband said, I'm sorry, I'm so hurt and I'm so broken. I don't think we can make this thing work. I think we are better off if you go and start your life, and let me also start my life. I'm not going to tell you to move out of the house. You're going to be here. And then the last time I had a conversation, she was like, listen, when you come to our house and you don't know there is a problem, you won't even know there's a problem. We are now cool. We are very civil. We are like friends. But he says we can't be a couple again.
And that's the position.
And, sometimes you can ask for an external help, like a counselor professional. If the person is willing, But in this instant, the man says, I'm sorry, it is not about helping. I don't want this again. Because I've had to deal with this so many years. I've come to a place that maybe we were not meant to be together. So sometimes, you can do all the things that you want to do. But when you realize that the person is basically trying to tell, listen, I'm oil, like your oil example, and you are water. No matter no matter what they do, we can't be together. And there is no mechanism, aside probably using a chemical or something, to make us blend. So, every day we will be settling in two different, strata. You are going to be up, I'm going to be down. Or one of us is going to be down, one of us is going to be up. And it won't help. So why don't we just see if I can be happy with another woman and you can be happy with another man? But that is always the final step.
Yeah.
But in the interim, do all you can, but give it time. Like Ajwa said, these things don't change overnight. It takes time, and you need to be willing to stay focused.
Honestly, I'm going to take your thoughts on the same issue, and I don't have any more questions because, PG ended it. So it could get to that point where you will do all there is to do. You will see the counselor and everything, and the other person could become very civil with you and tell you that I don't hate you anymore. I don't have issues with you. But I think we're just at a point where we're better off without being a couple. Yeah. And if you get there, then that's it.
Sorry, not to cut you short, but let me quickly introduce this thought. When we fall in love, we put a lot of objective analysis and other things to the back burner. So I'm just in love. I love Edem for her looks. I love Edem for what she does. I love Edem for the food and then everything. So that becomes the driving force, the undertow in the marriage until problems start coming.
Reality
and
hits
after you've dealt the thing you've dealt with this problem for like 5 years. Now you begin to make a lot more objective analysis. And by the time you are done, when your partner even come for reconciliation, you sit back and ask yourself, listen, I fell in love with this woman's beauty. I fell in love with her zeal and passion for work. I fell in love probably with her cooking. But coming to think about it,
there's more to it than
there is more to life than these three. And some way, somehow, I've married this woman for 5 years, and that's all the thing I fell in love with. But with the conflict, I've had opportunity to do deeper introspection. And I realized that we're conflicting, conflicting or constantly fighting because we don't share similar interest. I love her passion and everything, but they are inconsistent with my passion. I love this about her, but that is not really ultimately what I want, or that's not what is helping me. So you come to a place where you actually begin to ask Chris Martin, the lead player for Coldplay, is a rock band in the UK, as he said when he was going through a divorce with the wife, says that we are having a conscious uncoupling. A conscious uncoupling. So what it means is that, listen, first we're in love and we married, but now with all our problems, I realize that there is more to what we fell in love with. There is a lot more that we could have endured or enjoyed in this marriage that we are not having. So, I think another man will make you happy, another woman will make you happy. And Adam, when we come to that place, it's a lot more civil. But that is always the last part. Yeah.
Honestly, this has been one of my best home affairs shows. Honestly, it's so insightful, it's not funny. And we've gone through all the processes where you would realize that there could come a time where the resentment will go away, the anger will go, you will have a lot of peace, and you can be at peace with each other. But it is okay when you get to that point and you still can't be together as a couple. Home Affairs is brought to us by Amasha Partners and Eye Care. Kale Charcoal Toothpaste for white teeth and fresh breath all day long. And this is another quality product from Samara Company Limited. Kale Charcoal Toothpaste, Happy Smile, and Music Haven, your musical coach. Now, for all your eye care challenges, I'm asking you to look no further. Amasha Partners Limited and Eye Care has it all. Your eyes deserve the best care and quality designer eyeglasses. Amasha Partners and Eye Care undertake the following services: supply of designer frames, sight testing, supply of lenses, sunglasses, contact lenses, ophthalmologist in attendance, and general treatment. You can locate them at La Opposite Trade Fair. Sprinters, you will find them adjacent ICGC before the Community 18 Junction. McCarthy Hills, they are opposite Benjay Lodge. North Kanishi, they are around the Swan Lake, opposite Greenhand Junction. Achimota, second floor on the Dainswa Plaza, that's where you'll find them. Takrade on the Exim Road, opposite CBG Bank. Ho, they are opposite the Housing Junction. Kumasi at the airport roundabout. Kolebu, opposite ECG, and Koforidua on the Central Hospital Road. And in Tema, you can find them in Community 1 at the Meridian Plaza. Numbers to call 0302939850 and 0302778827. And did you know that playing any musical instrument or singing activates the brain in ways no other human activity can? It's the total brain workout. And for the growing mind, music learning is an invaluable input to the brain's development. It is enjoyable, it instills discipline, and develops the mind. At Music Haven, we teach all the musical instruments. Talk about the piano, the organ, the violin, the guitar, the saxophone, the trumpet, and we teach both adults and children. So parents, why don't you enroll your children at Music Haven for a great musical experience? We're open Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. and on Saturdays like this, it's 10 a.m. through to 3 p.m. You can find Music Haven on the Mensa Saba Road near the Malamata Market and next to Teledata. Call them on 0244356137 and also on 055-255-8398. We look forward to having your children at Music Haven. Make your children heroes among their peers. Music Haven, your musical coach. And the ARC Foundation Ghana presents a Mother's Day Shelter fundraiser on Saturday, 7th May 2022. The time is 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. The venue is the ARC Foundation Crisis Response Center located at Hacho. So as part of this year's Mother's Day commemoration, the ARC is raising funds and resources for its crisis center and shelter for abused women and children. The ARC is therefore calling on individuals, philanthropists, corporate bodies, and other organizations who would like to support our shelter for abused women and sexually assaulted young women and girls at our Mother's Day event to reach out on telephone numbers. So this is happening there. Telephone numbers you can reach out on 0243-777773 and 0243-061472. All friends and family, network partners, and the general public are invited to come and support us and mobilize resources for the noble cause. We are ever grateful for your support. This announcement is sponsored by the Multimedia Group. And on the 7th, that morning, we will be hosting Angela Jamina Abwaje here, Dr. Angela Jamina Abwaje. I will have her in the studio. She is she likes to call herself, I will remember the word. She doesn't want to be called the director or the CEO. She says she's
Chief
the
servant.
Chief Servant of the ARC Foundation. Thank you very much. I will have you, and I think it's a noble cause that we all, nothing is too little, and women who are battered, children who are, defiled, that's where they're all taken to. And how do you keep these people there as an individual and take care of them and protect them until you are able to integrate them back, into society or with their families? And so it will be great, if we all support this very noble cause. Now, Ariel, have patience for me. Let Adja finish. Adja, yes, please finish with me.
Yes, so Adam, I'm back. I agree that I haven't reached Zoom status yet because technology was fighting me.
I'm glad you've noticed it yourself.
Yes. So it's not an easy walk, but whoever takes the first step should be accommodating, not to think that because I'm taking the first step, I'm going to win. A win-win situation is not assured. You can win, you can lose. Because you see, there are times that the person is there, he's acting like he's okay, but he's checked out a long time ago. So make allowance for the fact that when you take the step and you're trying to reconcile, you're trying to make peace, you're doing all that you've been taught to do, everything your therapist has taught you to do. Don't be too surprised when you get in and you meet a roadblock. Yeah. Just keep trying. Just keep trying till the point where your effort is not making any progress. Then you can decide to begin to give up. But I'd say that in the process, when you are in limbo, when you're going through that process, make sure that you have external support so that you don't lose yourself as you try to find help to the problem that you have at home.
Thank you very much. Keep trying, and I like the very last point, that in trying, no matter what you do not lose yourself.
Yeah.
Do not lose yourself.
Yeah.
Thank you, Adjoa. Now to you, Ariel.
Yes, keep trying, but don't lose yourself. I take it up from there, and that's where I come in. I'm more interested in you, the person going through the challenges, and how you are maintaining your well-being. And as PG and all of us have established, you could get to the point where you don't win. But have you lost yourself at that point? So how are you balancing out while you try to create the space for the reconciliation, for the connection? Actually, it's not reconciliation because you're still in the relationship, but creating a space, a safe space, so that communication can come back. How are you maintaining yourself so that if you come to the point where this person tells you, I'm sorry, I know we've tried, but I don't want it again, like PG's case is dealing with, where will you be? How are you going to handle that space? That is why taking care of yourself while you are working on it is so crucial, because you can get to the place where it's not going to work. And you need to have this balance in your mental well-being, that I could get here and my partner can still say, I'm not doing anything with you anymore. You have to go.
Let me
Are you going to work out? Yes.
If you're seeing a coach ahead of approaching your partner,
yeah,
is it likely that you can be told that it will or will not work?
Yes, you can be told.
Okay.
You can be told.
Please go on.
That you need to have a balance. You need to be open to what is going to happen. You need to get to that place where you are sound to take whatever comes with the decision.
Okay.
But as we are saying, you making the initiation that I want to reconcile, put more work on you. Put more responsibility on you, because you are the one initiating to bring the connection. So you need to also balance yourself well, so that if it comes to falling, you don't fall. And that is where I'm more interested in, how you come out of it so that you don't become a victim at the end, but you can come out and say that I did the best I could with all that I had, and I'm grateful that I'm still standing here because I did the best I could with Kwesi, and we still couldn't work it out. You know, that is the most important balance you can have, because if you are not careful, at that end where PG brought us to, where the guy says, I understand, but I've come to the place I can't do it anymore. A bit me with you. Because you haven't been taking care of yourself, building a strong body that can take weight to think, building a strong mental space. And these are all things you can do to be maintaining yourself while you work on the relationship and the process. And that is so crucial, because you don't want to come to the end and then now you become a pity party looking for me, crying all over the place. And we also got to the part where, as we said, it's not working and you have to go. How have you prepared yourself in coming to that place? So sometimes people say in relationship, not because it's not easy, they are not seeing the exit sign, but you need a lot of work to come to the place where you say, I'm going out. You just can't walk out, because there's a lot of work you have to do to come to that mental space alone to make that decision and say, I'm going. So if your partner brings you there, are you ready? Those are some of the things you need to start looking at, so you play balance. As you are playing selfless, you play selfish by taking care of yourself, so that if he drops you and you fall, you'll be able to get up again. Because that is possible in happening. And that is where I'm more interested in. If it comes to that, how do you stand? How do you approach life anymore? Are you going to be more negative to the whole your life? But you matter and you are enough. And there's so much you can live for. Not just that. When you take a holistic approach at your life, you realize it's not just about that relationship. There's so much I want for my life as well. So if this ends, How do I pick myself up and live a more fulfilling life, meeting my maximum potential?
Beautiful. I said I wasn't going to ask any more questions, but one question just popped up from everything we have been saying. So would you say, it's a very simple thing, would you say that when you come to that point of realization that, look, I don't want to let this go without a fight, and so you decide that I want to work at this, and you are the one making this, would you advise that when anybody comes to that realization, they probably see a coach, a counselor, and have a conversation with them? And it's important to pray as well, and then you're guided through the first steps you have to take all the way, or, you can brace it and just go ahead. What would you advise? Ajwa, what would you advise?
Well, I'd say whatever the situation is, find yourself. Find things that will engage you. Nothing is promised, because you see, Adam, when we have high hopes, then we are disappointed. So don't let your hopes be too high whilst waiting to reconnect and all of that. Just live, because beyond marriage, there's still life, right? Great. Let's not bottle ourselves in a space where it's like, if it doesn't work, then my life comes to an end. And I mean, why was I born anyway? Were you just born for marriage? So life is bigger than whatever situation that you're handling. So if you look at the bigger picture, then you give yourself some allowance, whether it works or not. You just live, basically.
Okay. I was also asking about, the approach. Yeah. What would you advise?
So that's why when I was talking, I started by saying that some of these things, once it gets to that entrenched place, that place of, pain, resentment, and everything, sometimes you may want to get medical attention, like, everyday ailments. You understand? There are some diseases, it goes beyond over-the-counter prescription. What is the name? Paracetamol and all that. You need to probably go do proper diagnosis, or get a doctor to do proper diagnosis, run some tests, and then help. And it's the same thing. Get a coach, a professional coach, who will understand what you're going through, who will use some scientific tools in pulling some information out, who will do some tests on you, run some personality tests, run some, tests around your communication skills, and then all of that. And then be able to start from that place and tell you that, okay, well, I think probably this is where the issue may be. Or looking at what you have shared with me and then all of that, maybe you may want to change your approach. Because sometimes it is actually the approach itself that you've probably over time used to communicate or used to resolve conflicts that is actually aggravated the problem. Probably it's just your personality. Maybe you're just abrasive. I mean, take a very typical choleric woman, living with a melancholic man. And then the two of you have fallen apart. And then you expect this woman to attempt a reconciliation on her own. She's basically going to spoil the whole issue. Because cholerics are just go get it straight to the point. They say whatever they have to say, and that they are result-oriented. And you are dealing with a melancholic who is very sensitive. You need to choose your words well. You need to be very careful what you're saying, and then all of that. And so the more you go frontal, the likelihood you are going to hurt the person more, and then all that. But for me, when people come and we are doing counseling, at the back of my mind, there are three things I'm looking at. The potential of this thing going on, being resolved. Based on that interaction, the potential of both of them working on themselves, or potential of telling them that, listen, this won't work. At every point in time, when I notice which one may best help them, we take it from there. Yeah.
So it's important that you start the process with
some form of help, some form of guidance. Exactly.
Because I can imagine that when you go and you hit the roadblock, you might want to turn to somebody to talk to and go like, hey, I went and no, they weren't listening. So what do I do next?
Exactly.
But if you were doing it on
your
own.
So if you have a coach, you have a plan.
A plan for you, exactly.
They will have a plan. So you have accountability. You meet and go do an assignment, and then you're accountable to yourself by journaling. And then when you meet your coach as well, you give accountability. And then a next step is taken. So there's always action, activity, and it helps you become more intentional.
Yep.
When you have some guidance in what you have to be doing, you become more intentional because you know you are doing this for a purpose.
Yep.
But when you're doing it alone, it's like
there's
nothing. You don't. So sometimes you need some form of inspiration and guidance, an ally. Someone to hold on to and know that I can go and talk to PG or Ariel at the end of the day, and she will. I mean, sometimes I get a call. I need to talk to you right now. This happened. My mother-in-law did this. What do you think I should do? And and so you just give them some guidance around it. So it's very important, and it's about time we start seeking this support and building better awareness for our lives and our relationships and our career and everything we want to do.
And if I may just chip in, I have this professor in the States.
Let me activate the phone line, 0302-216541. We have some few minutes. It'll be interesting to know what you are thinking about the conversation we're having. And I have said that this by far has been one of my best conversations. It's been so insightful. I won't lie to you.
So I have this professor in the States, and she and her husband, of course, young couple, so definitely what happened. And whenever the guy goes off and the lady gets upset, he's like, yeah, I know. You are going to make a note and you're going to report me to PG. whatever, you know what, you don't worry, I'll do whatever, because I don't want to be chastised again. It's like just that mindset
that somebody is there to account to
by the end of the month, because I meet them on a monthly basis. Yes. So I'm on a retainer for them. So every month we just meet, we check in. That's what I do with all my high net worth clients. They put me on retainer, and then on monthly basis we meet, we talk. They tell me how the day went, how the month went, all their challenges, we resolve it. So it is not like a particular issue we are dealing with. We deal with that particular issue at the initial first 5-6 sections. Then going on, it's on monthly basis, so that every month, whatever happened, we resolve it. So you realize that after a year, almost every potential problem would have gone through the cycle again. We would have addressed each one as they occur, and for each one giving them the right skills and tools to handle it, so you don't repeat yourself again. And once they know that at the end of the month it's going to happen. I mean, there are times where it's actually the woman who pays for it the first session, and then the guy takes over. The guy is like, you know what, I think I like this session, I'll be paying. And sometimes you get a guy who just calls you and says that, Charlie, you have to talk to your sister, and that kind of thing. So it happens when there is that coaching. That is why that word is very relevant. I always tell people, I'm not a counselor, I'm a coach. Like to coach people rather than sit people down and then they are quiet and you are talking and talking.
Advising them.
Yes.
And then when it goes wrong, it was what the counselor said.
Thank you very much. And you become tacitly liable for every decision they make and so yeah.
I think we have someone on the line. Hello, good morning.
Good morning, Adam.
How are you?
I'm good, Adam.
Great. Please tell me your name.
My name is Delight.
Pardon me?
Delight.
Delight. Okay, Delight, we're listening to you.
Hey, Adam. Kudos to your team this morning. This is your best show, right?
Are you okay, though?
I'm fine. I'm fine, I can say.
Great, good to know.
You have played my track this morning. Everything you have played is just my track. I played. A situation I find myself inside right now. But can I get a copy of this show?
Please leave your contact with Daniela.
Okay.
All right. Thank you.
I want to continue listening to you.
Thank you, Delight. Thank you. Great. I know that we have been doing a lot of work on the show, but this, like I said, for me, it's very insightful, and in fact, I'm going to keep a copy myself.
Wow.
Once again, Home Affairs is brought to us by Amasha Partners Limited and Eye Care. Kel Charcoal Toothpaste for white teeth and fresh breath all day long. This is another quality product from Samara Company Limited. Kel Charcoal Toothpaste, Happy Smile, and Music Haven, your musical coach. Do we have another person on the line? Hello, good morning. Hi, good morning.
Good morning, Adam.
How are you?
Fine, thank you. Yourself?
I am well, thank you.
Yes.
Okay, we're listening.
Yes, please. I think one of the issues that bring this problem up is the pre-counseling experiences we have, particularly in our church. If we go through counseling in a more pragmatic way and understand the reality of marriage, then at least we will be conditioned and psyched up that the probability of these things coming up is about 99%. So please, I think in this area we must all There are people who are counselors, but they are not trained. The mere fact that you are a reverend minister doesn't make you a qualified
You're right.
counselor.
Yeah.
So please, these are things we need to do so that our system will be sanitized, that our marriages will travel the full length. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I appreciate you. Have a nice weekend. We'll wrap up quickly. So I give us about 30 seconds each for our final words, and then we will be out. Yes, Aja. But if one phone call comes through, we can pick it. Aja,
Okay.
your final words.
So Adam, the reason I keep saying don't lose yourself is that before you even decide to access the counselor or to even get to a coach, you don't have to lose yourself because there's a waiting period before you get there. So consider yourself as somebody who matters and you are created for a need or to meet a need in this world. Whether you're married or not, whether the challenge is solved or not, you don't have to lose yourself. Marriage is secondary. Your life is the main reason. The purpose on earth is the main reason why God allowed you to stay in on this earth for all this while. So whether you're seeking help or not, make sure that you keep yourself intact and tell yourself, promise yourself that no matter what, no matter how difficult it is, I will not lose myself. I'll keep myself intact. So that this person will eventually say, oh, with all that I did, she's still intact and respect you, and then possibly even make steps to be able to, get you guys to move on. That's basically what I want to leave the discussion with.
Great. My takeouts, from that will be, it is you are in that marriage because you're alive.
Yep.
You are there because you're alive. Because if you're dead, then you can't even be married. So it's important that you don't lose yourself. Thank you, Ariel.
So Adja have said all. She's taking all my words.
Hey.
I know she was going to do that. Yes, but that is very important, and that's crucial, that you are well, regardless of everything, that you are mentally, spiritually, emotionally well, regardless of the circumstances you're going through. And it takes work to get there. It takes work to be well. It doesn't just take complaining. So put some work on yourself. Be there for yourself. Value yourself. I mean, you ask a question that why do you get to the point where you decide that you need to know you are worthy of living a good life.
Beautiful.
And then you make the choices that are good to sustain you, because you are going to be there at the end of every day. You and you and you and you is always you.
Thank you.
So love you.
Before you, PG, Millennium Insurance is wishing Mildred Aziz a happy birthday, wishing you a wonderful year of good health, happiness, and glorious life. So Mildred Aziz, happy birthday to you from the whole team at Millennium Insurance. PG.
Adam, I wouldn't. My last words wouldn't be on this, but it's something that some two clients have offered. So I have one client in New Delhi, in India, and I have another client in England. Both of them have exhausted their relationship with me or engagement with me, but there's still enough sections they've paid for because they paid for the whole year, and they are saying I should give it out to corporate women who are going through similar. I mean, they were specific corporate women who are going through specific issue. One has 4 sessions outstanding. That's 4 hours of contact time. One also has 8 sections outstanding. So a total of 12 hours free. So please, if you are out there, please, you should be in the position not to pay for you to benefit. If you can pay, you are blocking the opportunity of somebody who can pay. And so my number, or the number to reach us, and please, it is via WhatsApp. If you call, nobody will pick it. It is via WhatsApp text, because we try to keep trail of all the chats and all the conversations. So the number is 0554 84 9792. 0554 84 9792. Please, it is booked on hourly basis. So if you are given 7 p.m., show up at 7 p.m. If you miss it, the waiting period is 15 minutes. After 15 minutes, it is gone and the section is charged. So please take advantage of it.
Thank you. So that's how we wrap up on Home Affairs today. Thank you for being our guest. There's something that came up that I noted that I would want to leave you with. When your partner stops talking, PG said it, and it's very true. They stop nagging. They stop asking questions. They stop talking to you. They go like, it's okay. Everything you say, oh, it's fine. It's okay. You should know that they are withdrawing. They are withdrawing. But the nagging, the complaints, they want you to do it right. That tells you that there is a need. They're crying for help. So when your partner stops talking, don't tell yourself, I got them off my back. No, you're creating a bigger problem. So enjoy the talk. Enjoy the talk. And it gives you a lot of insight into what they could be going through or what their expectations are. And then together, depending on the reason you two came together, I think one of my guests mentioned it. Talked about, like, if you are sincere, it was Ajwa who mentioned it. If the reason for coming together is sincere, then your partner's talking will not sound like mosquitoes buzzing in your ear. You would want to work at it. Yeah. Thank you very much for doing the listening. Next week, we will come your way with another Home Affairs. I enjoy my time with you. And thanks to the crew. Do enjoy the weekend. And this afternoon from 2 o'clock, there's Showbiz A to Z. Give me just a second. All our programs are back. Last week, because of Easter, we took our programs, off. But all our programs are back. There's going to be Sports Link News File is coming up. Showbiz A to Z. Today, they are talking about Travel Ghana, Pay Higher, to endorse or not to endorse celebrity endorsements and associate challenges. So these are what we are talking about with very wonderful guests. So you don't want to miss Showbiz A to Z and any of our programs throughout the day. Enjoy the day. Bye.
Ophebia, did you brush your teeth before eating?
No, Mommy. Anytime I use Daddy's toothpaste, I get bruises in my mouth and sometimes I feel like vomiting.
That's not an excuse. As a child, you need to brush your teeth before you take your breakfast to avoid tartar and cavity, okay? And you, why are you laughing at your sister? Have you brushed your teeth?
Yes, Mom. I used the Kel Kids toothpaste you brought yesterday to brush my teeth.
Well done, darling. Kel Kids toothpaste is made for kids like you from